All right. So the way it works is he realized that people that just read something or just look at a piece of artwork or listen to something, a song or anything, they don't get that much out of it. They don't get nearly as much out of it as if they have a group of people come together with their own background, experiences, perspective, and then look at something and discuss it. And then everybody brings in their own perspectives that other people may or may not have thought about, and they also
that's how she's gonna spy.
And they also are able then to learn things that they wouldn't have learned otherwise because other people share from their perspective. And every time I've done this, I have learned something new about Lord of the Flies. And we put the conch in the middle to remind us of one of the protocols that is that only one person at a time speaks during a Socratic seminar. And it's not any particular, it's not just like a rule, it's just the way it's done out because it's a respectful conversation. And it's not contentious, it's not a contentious, that it doesn't mean there's no, you don't agree all the time, but it isn't meant to be like adversarial. It isn't meant to be like a competition. But you can definitely disagree, okay? So one person at a time will speak. I will be asking questions, and you don't raise your hand to speak. Instead of raising your hand, you actually just jump in when it seems like the appropriate time, okay? So you do not speak while someone else is speaking. If two people start to speak at the same time, then one person yields to the other. And like if it's the same two people 2 times in a row, whoever yielded the first time should not be the one that yields the second time. We don't want people to dominate the conversation. So if you've spoken several times, then take a break and just listen to what's being said. Also, when you are responding to a question, you either say, I believe, and then what your belief is, or I think, and what your thought is, or, and then you support it with evidence from the story. Okay, since we have people that have read the book and watched at least one version of the movie, then they can use either evidence from either one. We do have a copy of the book. Dakota, can you grab that book? And if we need to look something up. And then, again, you don't raise your hands. The conch reminds you of one person at a time speaks. Everyone else is listening during that time. And then you refer to each other by name, if at all possible. And then we'll review names right now before we start. And then you say things like, I agree with Gary, or I disagree with Natalie. But it's not like a competition or anything like that, okay? So, are there any questions before we start?
What are we doing?
So, we're going to, you do get graded on your participation. Part of your participation is listening. A very important part is listening. If you can't tell me something that you changed your mind about during this, I will be very surprised, and you probably won't be able to get as good a grade. Because almost everyone will hear something they would have never thought of, like a perspective they wouldn't have thought of. Okay? And so we're going to go around and say just your first name's fine. And then everybody needs to listen to that so they can refer to those people in case, and there might be a couple people that don't know hardly anybody in this room. There are a couple people that don't know anybody. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Megan. Summer.
Corbin. Magic Dragon.
Brayden.
Kaylee. Natalie.
Tanya.
Gary.
Gabe. Alex.
Harrison.
Sarah. Chris. Angie. Danielle. Megan. Nikolai.
Zachary.
Rudy.
Tori.
Anthony. Spivak.
Dakota. And Miss Clapham. Okay, so
Did you do a selfie for that one? No makeup.
all right. Now, there will also, one other thing is there's not going to be dialogue between people. So let's say Natalie, I say something, and then Natalie disagrees. She's going to say, I disagree with Miss Clapham, but she's not going to just look at me, and then I'm not going to just keep responding to her back and forth. It's a group discussion. Harrison, it's group. Pass that one person at a time over here.
It's a headband.
It's okay. It's not like, there's no problem with it. So,
Stop him, he's gone.
shh. So you don't have a dialogue. No, just one person at a time. The point is to have a conversation with the group.
You guys are ridiculous.
Don't let it out of your possession again. Okay, so I'm just saying, like it's a distraction. You understand? No dialogue between people. You have to follow the protocol. It's an intellectual exercise. It requires some intellectual thought and intellectual, I suppose that's a repetitive statement, and intellectual self-discipline. I would recommend having your notebook out, and when you think of something that you want to add, or just a new thought that you have, whatever, and you don't want to lose that thought, then you might just jot it down. Okay? So I'll be collecting the blue paper at the end of the period, by the way. I don't want you working on it now though. Okay. So I'll start with, you want me to start with a bogus question or just jump right in with a real question?
Bogus.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strawberry.
Okay.
Can we have a
So
debate?
Danielle, please use your intellectual self-discipline. Dakota, close the door, please. And then we lower the magnet.
I can do that.
Like that. Okay. All right. Well, here's the bogus one. I think we could jump in. I really think you do fine. Okay, bogus. Ready? Was Little Red Riding Hood to blame for her own demise?
Yeah. She
Okay.
walked through the
No.
woods.
Big time violation. You don't say huh. You don't say blah 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 blah. One person talks. So what we do on the first question, I will have an artificial time period of no talking, and then somebody can jump in after 30
Well,
seconds.
I have an idea.
Don't raise your hand.
Let's just like pass the contract.
It's too hard. So it's just we're gonna do it figuratively, symbolically.
We magically have it.
Yes.
Just imagine this.
Okay, so is Little Red Riding Hood to blame for, and I really don't know the story that well either. Little Red Riding Hood to blame for her own demise.
What does demise mean?
Okay, and you can ask clarifying question. So you can say, what do you mean by demise? Okay, and then I would say, I mean death.
She didn't die.
I couldn't remember, didn't she?
No.
Okay.
The wolf got split open.
I heard it's really gory. Somebody mentioned it recently.
What is?
Did anyone die?
Okay. Okay, then it's a bad question.
Yeah.
Lumberjack came in and split the wolf.
Okay, was the wolf to blame for its demise in Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah.
Wait, but you don't all say it once. And you never say just yes or just no or anything else. You always say, I believe the wolf, or I think the wolf was to blame for its own demise because it huffed and puffed and... I'm kidding. Just kidding. I know it's the wrong one. And blew the... Yeah. So, that's how it's done. Okay, are we done with bogus now? Can we get in the real thing? You do not all say yeah. You don't jump in like that. You kind of like get a sense if anyone else is going to talk, and then you pay attention to the group. You're thinking about someone besides yourself. Very good intellectual exercise. Okay, not everybody has to answer every time, for sure. Okay, here's the first question. And this time we will have a 30-second no jumping in, and then I'll indicate when the 30 seconds is up. And please don't play with the pencil that way. Do it on your lap, it wouldn't matter. Okay, on your leg. Gonna start with Who was the best leader on the island? Who was the best leader? And now think of your evidence. Think of your belief and your evidence. Everyone should be thinking about who they think the best leader is. All right. You may begin. I think, I believe. That's how you start it.
I think, I believe.
At least a complete thought and then evidence.
I think it is Jack because he's the one who came up with the conch idea.
No,
Sorry. Because he turned everybody into savages, and
You have to have like concrete evidence.
well, at the end they were all gonna kill everybody. So
And you have to say how he did it.
he made it so there were like no rules.
Because he disregarded the rules.
Yeah. So.
Okay, that's fine. You're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, I think that Ralph is a better leader because he took into account other people's feelings besides his own.
You have to give evidence. How did he take into other
Well,
people's?
He didn't just, I don't know, he just didn't do things because he wanted to do it.
You have to give concrete evidence.
Okay, well, like the conch thing, like he didn't just talk, or he didn't just.
He gave everyone the
Yeah,
right to talk.
Yeah, he gave everyone a chance to talk.
All right.